dubbed Inspiring Confidence in Climate Justice, and have an amazing guest in the building. She's an organizer, a change agent, building a thriving movement in food. The amazing Aimee in the building. Welcome, Aimee.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
That's what you do. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
And I was curious about you are Swedish Malian, but why Ghana?
Why Ghana?
Yes,
I
the
get
big
that,
question.
I get that question a lot.
All right.
But I always knew I wanted to be in West Africa because I grew up in Sweden. So I always traveled to Mali to see my family and so on. But when I grew up and could make my movements myself, I started gravitating towards West Africa. So I was studying my bachelor and found an exchange course in Ghana in Cape Coast. That was 5 years ago. So I went, studied global environmental studies, and I just fell in love.
All right.
Everyone was so amazing, the country was beautiful, the food was amazing. So after that, I knew that I was gonna make my move there. And 2 years ago, I moved to Ghana.
All right. And what is it like for you growing up in Stockholm? You grew up in Stockholm, Sweden?
Yes.
All right. How was that like for you?
I mean, it was good. It's a small city.
I saw 10 million people.
No, that's the whole country.
The whole country, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the country.
Yeah, Stockholm isn't even 1 million people.
All right.
But no, I had my people, I had my community. Luckily, Stockholm has more diversity than other parts of Sweden, and people generally think that Sweden is like a racist country. And of course, there's racism like any European country or any, people with a country with white people. But luckily in Stockholm, it was okay. I wasn't the only black person in most of the environments I was in. But then when I went to my grandparents on the countryside, on the other hand, that's when you really felt that you were black.
Okay.
But then when I would travel to Mali, everyone would call me white. So that was a bit of an identity crisis.
By the way.
How
do you deal with that?
I mean, I think my mom did an amazing job in, educating me and talking, like not shoving anything like under the...
Black and white, no gray area.
No, exactly. We were just always conversating about racism, about being black, about being white, about the world. And she did so much for me to really connect with West Africa. And we went almost every year, and she saved all of her money for us to be able to go to Mali so I could meet with my family. And so I knew my black identity from the beginning. But I also know people in countries like Sweden that has, another background or culture as well, like African. I mean, they haven't even traveled to that country.
Okay.
So I'm very, very thankful for my mom. Shout out to my mom for really like making me connect to West Africa.
All right, amazing. So let me take you a bit back and talk about the rich culture, the food and coffee culture in Sweden. Sweden has a rich coffee and food culture.
Yes.
There's something I read about Sweden and the coffee culture. They call it fika.
Fika, yes.
Where you guys take coffee breaks.
Yes.
What's it about? It's so rich and huge.
Well, so it's our way of taking a little break in whatever we do. We have coffee and a little pastry, and it's just I think it's one of our strongest traditions, actually.
Yeah, so it's huge, yeah.
Yeah. But it's a very casual thing. It's just, should we take a fika? That's just that. Okay, we have some coffee and a pastry, and we stop whatever we're doing and we take a minute.
And it's so religious. You have to stop what you're doing and take the coffee. How many coffee cups can you take in a day?
Well, I recently started drinking coffee, actually, so I can only take one or two.
Okay.
But some people can take a lot.
All right. So it's a thing. So if I'm in Sweden today, in Stockholm, and they say, Conshizzy, we need to take a fika, a break, a coffee break, I need to do it.
Yes.
All right, interesting. And I mean, did growing up in Sweden, I don't know, where did this culture and passion for food come about? Is it because you grew up in a country that's rich in food and
I wouldn't say that Sweden is the richest in food.
In the food culture.
No, I would say that my Malian side, that's where we have the richer food culture.
Okay.
But for me, I was always very interested in the environment and sustainability. and I always loved to eat food. I didn't cook so much food when I was younger and so on, but I was always interested in, how can we eat sustainable? How can we reduce the amount of meat we
Yeah,
eat?
eating
How
healthy.
exactly eating healthy for the body, but also for the environment.
Okay.
And then I studied political science and human security, which is like environmental security, community security, but also food security.
Okay.
That's where I learned about agroecology, about, sustainable production and food systems in general. And then I got the opportunity to come and work with Ghana Food Movement in Ghana. And that's 2 years ago, and that's when I actually really got into the food space. So before that, it was more sustainability, environment, climate, and conflict that I was like focused on. But since I started with Ghana Food Movement, all I think about
You're
is
never looking back.
food. No, I'm never looking back. I love it so much.
Absolutely, that's amazing. Let's talk about the Ghana food movement. You guys are promoting local food. Talk to us more about that.
Sure. So Ghana Food Movement is a member organization in
Yes.
Ghana, youth-led, youth-focused, and we do three things. We support each other through a network. So that is anyone in the food and agric space in Ghana can be a part
Can be a
of
member.
Exactly. So whatever you need support with, if you need an expertise in something, you need to employ someone, you need to sell some of your agric products, you need someone to cater for you, whatever it is, you can reach out to the network and we help you out. That's the first thing. Then the second part is youth empowerment. So getting young people engaged in the food system is super important for us, and that's a topic that is really big here at the conference as well.
Yes.
Which is really really great. And then the third one is also what you mentioned, highlighting local indigenous ingredients. So we do campaigns where we promote local eating. We say no to imported food because we believe that we have everything that we need in Ghana when it comes to nutritious,
Yes.
sustainable food.
And the culture is great. It's very, I don't know, it's rich. But I'm thinking, how do you make traditional food appealing to the young people in Ghana?
Well, I think it's about being creative, right? It's about using ingredients that might not be attractive for young people anymore because now they want to eat rice, they want to eat fast food, maybe like they want to eat more like Western types of foods and flavors. But then I think it's about innovating with local ingredients like fonio, like different millets, wagashi, sorghum. There's so many different ingredients that young people might not be eating as much anymore.
Yam.
Yam, yes,
Okay.
a lot of those. So then it's about innovating. How can we cook these ingredients in new ways? Like, I don't know, make a taco, make a burger. Like, we make tiger nut burgers, for example. Tiger nut is a small tuber,
Okay.
which is really nutritious. And in Ghana, mostly, we make tiger nut milk or we chew the tiger nuts. Also in Mali. But our chefs, who are so creative, they make this burger patty made of tiger nut, and it tastes exactly like meat. It's super delicious, and people can't believe that. Oh, this is an indigenous ingredient and now we're getting a plant-based alternative to a burger.
Amazing. But for you to make that, you have to be a professional.
Yes, of course.
Can you make one?
No, I can't. I'm not a chef, but that's why we work with so many people in the food system.
All
So
right, yeah.
farmers, entrepreneurs, retailers, chefs, nutritionists, consumers. So everyone is needed for this food system action that we're trying to take.
So everyone brings something on the table.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking, how do we make these, continental? Can we make it Africa Food Movement? What's the plan?
Exactly.
What are you thinking about that?
And I love that question.
Okay.
I really love that question
All
because
right.
since I came to Nairobi, I've been able to connect with some food stakeholders here. And obviously it has come to our mind that we need a network so we can support each other, because also I see so many things being produced here in Kenya, like grown and manufactured in terms of food, things that we don't have in Ghana.
Yeah.
But how come in Ghana we are importing our food from Europe, from the States, from even South America, and from Asia before we're importing from other African countries? So for me, it's really important that we are able to exchange across African countries.
And even Kenya has a very rich food culture. I
Yes,
think,
of
yeah.
course, but also like milk production, cheese production, chia seeds, like so many things that we don't do in Ghana. We could collaborate collaborate. And then there are things that we do in Ghana that you could take from
it
here.
can be like an exchange thing. We can learn from you guys, and you can pick up things from us.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And now there is the African Trade Agreement that is about to
To be enacted.
To be enacted. They started the trials for it.
Okay.
So it will be really interesting to see how we can connect with food stakeholders and really push for more trade among African countries. But then again, it's difficult because we don't have good roads connecting us. We don't have
Even
railway.
it's very expensive to travel around Africa.
That's
than
the
even
problem.
Europe. It's crazy.
And that's why I have never been here, and
Neither
many West Africans have never been to East Africa. So how are we even supposed to get to know each other and learn from each other if we can't
If
even
traveling
travel?
is a hindrance,
It's terrible.
a barrier.
But
Okay.
that's how the system was set up, for us to be dependent on the West and to not connect too much with each other, because the West understands how strong we will be when
If
that,
we
that one
are
day
a
when we
solid
unite.
unit, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. I hope they're listening and watching, and they know we want to make that change.
We don't need them.
We
We
don't
don't
need
need them for anything. Like, we don't need them for our food culture. We don't need them for our production. We don't need them for our manufacturing. We don't need them for our confidence.
We don't need them for anything. Yeah. And that brings me to the next question about this conference is about, day one is about finding sovereign solutions to African problems in climate, food. What do you think, since I consider you an expert in food, in the food sector, what do you think should be, I don't know, the roadmap to finding our solutions, sovereign solutions as Africans, especially on food security?
Yeah, I mean, community, like starting from the bottom, like starting bottom up, not coming with foreign agendas and interests. All of these companies that, say that they are doing good projects with farmers, but at the end of the day, it's actually about the products that they are selling.
They're selling, yeah, the products. That's the bottom line.
And that's not gonna make that
It's
change.
not sustainable, yeah.
Exactly. Instead, we need to look at the solutions that communities are innovating within themselves and see how we can learn from different communities and adapt those solutions in the environments that they are needed. And also going back to indigenous knowledge, because our ancestors, they were living in a much more sustainable and resilient way that we have forgotten to how to live now.
Exactly.
Now we're living in cities that are so unsustainable. We're pushing food production so far away from us.
Yeah.
With fuel prices, food is just increasing and
Every day it's
increases
crazy.
in price, and we don't have food around us anymore, because all we want to do is to build skyscrapers and
expressways like in Kenya.
yeah.
I mean, the roads are nice, but we need to go to the bottom line, the core, which is
Yeah.
food.
Yes.
I saw on your bio you said if you want to control someone, you should. I don't know. Sankara said that
Sankara said, "The one who feeds you
controls you.
you."
That's powerful.
And it's true. And some of those, Pan-Africanism like Sankara and Nkrumah, they were already talking about the need for us to become food independent when African countries had independence.
It's been an overdue topic. It's been for
Well,
years
I
and years,
think
yeah.
the topic got lost somewhere because when we were struggling economically and we had to take the, bailouts from the IMF, from the World Bank, some of the people that are still here trying to control our agendas in climate change and in food production and all of that, they had their standards and their conditions on those loans, right?
They did, yeah.
And we took the money and we completely changed our food systems because of that. They told us you should focus on 2-3 crops, you should export it to us, and you will get foreign currency so that you can buy food from us to feed your people. But then
That's messed up.
and then they realized that, wait, now the commodity prices on the market are changing, so we're not getting as much for our cocoa, for example.
Yes.
So we can't buy as much food. That's when they realized, like, this is not a system that was set up for us. It was not a system that was set up for us to prosper and for us to build our food systems. It completely, just tore down our food systems instead, and they are still behind.
I agree, 100%. And this is about, that's what we're doing today. We're inspiring confidence to have these bold and brave conversations around this. And I'm thinking, like the Ghana food movement, how can someone in Kenya, before we make it Africa food movement, get involved? Like Conshizzy, I want to be part of the Ghana food movement. How can I get involved with maybe my expertise or maybe my knowledge or
You can be
just my
involved.
influence? Yeah.
You can
How
be
can
involved.
someone get involved?
You can
Watching
get
or listening?
involved. You
Yeah.
can You can reach out to us on Instagram, Ghana Food Movement. You can send us a DM that you want to be involved.
Social media is huge.
Yeah, social media. For us, social media is a very big tool.
It is.
Telling the stories of food and the knowledge sharing and all of that in a fun way, in a vibrant way is so important.
Easy to the ears, yeah.
People are not going to sit and take in a conference on certain...
We spoke about that with Salina. She said some people even come to these conferences and they don't even know what's going on. You're just seated, you're here for the food, for the vibes, and you go home.
No.
But if you find a way to make it more appealing and break down the information, it's easy.
For us, it's our approach is like make it fun. If we make it fun, if we make it vibing, if you bring in music and good food, people will relate more.
Okay.
So we feed you first, then we talk about what we fed you with, and then, you're forced to listen.
All right. By the way, and you can't even have a conversation on an empty tummy, so you need to eat fast.
Exactly.
Okay. I saw you guys still on the Ghana Food Movement. You have events that you do. That one that caught my attention was the dance and dine and dance.
You've done your homework, huh?
I tried.
That's your job.
So tell me about the dance and dine and dance sounds, of course, easy, but what's that? Like it's a concert?
Dine and dance is a dinner. It's a pop-up dinner. We do it like monthly or bi-monthly. And for each dinner, we focus on one indigenous ingredients. So it can be tiger nut, fonio, yam, plantain, whatever it is.
I love plantain.
You love plantain. Well, actually, plantain is probably not native to Africa. But anyways, an ingredient that is, big for us. Cocoa, baobab.
Yes.
So then our chefs, who are incredible, they innovate with these ingredients and they show new creative ways of using those ingredients.
All right.
So maybe, for example, plantain, you are used to it maybe roasted or fried or boiled, but they can make something like even more special with it. Maybe they make a plantain pie.
There's no limitation to it.
A plantain soup or whatever it is. There's no limitation.
All right, amazing.
And then we talk about the different ingredients throughout the meal, and then after the meal, we dance. So then we have a DJ or live music, and we just vibe.
All right. And talk to me about this other event that you do, the food safari. That sounds interesting.
Yes.
So what's that about?
So the food safari is a food tour. We've renamed it now, so it's more like a food tour.
Okay.
And that one we follow the value chain of a specific crop again. So all of the crops I mentioned, we follow them from the farm to the plate and everything in between. The whole procedure.
Okay.
So it's really a way for people living in the city to get out of the city and see the work and the effort that it actually takes to produce the food we eat. Because a lot of people are disconnected, and maybe you go and buy your food at the supermarket or at the market, but you don't know actually how much it takes.
The process. You don't even know the toil to get, to that level where it's packaged now and you guys can buy it in the supermarket. Amazing. All right. I don't know. There's another one, but I was keen on the food safari and the dine and dance. There's another one that you guys were doing.
Movers Connect.
What was it about? That one?
Well, I can tell you something else. Something interesting.
Yeah, something interesting.
For the future.
Something fun,
Something
fun. In the works.
Something in the big works.
Okay.
So we are actually building our first physical space.
Wow, okay.
In Ghana. So it's going to be a kitchen and learning center.
So you can come, learn how to cook.
Exactly. Get inspired. We're going to have a food library. We're going to have the kitchen. We're going to have the dinner space. So people can book the space, but people can also just come there to get inspired. Whether you're a chef, whether you're an entrepreneur thinking about a food product, whether, you want to host a session, host a dinner. So, it's super exciting for us. We started in 2019. We got registered as an NGO end of 2021. So things are moving fast now, and next year in probably April we'll have
it should be up and running.
It should be up and running. So I'm inviting you now to come.
I'll be so honored to come.
You should.
And I can enjoy jollof rice.
Yes.
In Ghana.
Many different jollof. Not only jollof rice, also jollof fonio. Jollof millets, jollof sorghum.
And the other one is the fufu.
Fufu, yes. That one is made from pounded cassava and sometimes plantain as well.
All right.
And we call it a swallow because you're not supposed to swallow it.
Okay.
But since I'm not a Ghanaian, I posted a TikTok once where I was chewing I was chewing the fufu and I got like 50 comments about that. I was
You're roasted.
I was eating the fufu wrong.
Okay.
So when I was having ugali here,
mhm.
I asked the person like, "Am I supposed to chew it or not?" And he's like, "No,
You
we
ugali
chew
chew
the
it, yeah.
ugali."
You do like ugali?
I love ugali.
Which other Kenyan food are you vibing with right now?
I had nyama choma
Yeah.
last night. I really liked it. I love the tomato, like what's it called?
Kachumbari.
Kachumbari.
Uh-huh.
That's really good. And then I had the smocha,
Okay.
which is like the chapati, the chapati
Okay.
with the smoky
All right.
inside
Yeah, the
and
smoky
the
inside.
samosa.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes they did it only with the smoky, but I was like, add the samosa because I wanted the
I mean,
whole.
that's dope.
I wanted the whole thing.
Greatness.
And then I had it with some mint and pineapple
Okay.
juice. That's popular, right?
Yeah, it's popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw in his stories you also had mabuyu.
Mabuyu, what's mabuyu?
Mabuyu. I mean, it's some very, I don't know, they're very sugary.
Oh, like
Mabuyu.
like the what are they called in Ghana?
I saw that on your stories.
Like the donuts?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't have those. Are you sure it was me?
Yeah, it was you on your story. You said you enjoyed
Oh,
some mabuyu.
mabuyu.
Yeah,
Oh,
mabuyu.
wait. The baobab.
Yeah, the baobab.
Oh, yes.
But
That's
it's
so interesting.
coated in red, it's
Yes,
sugary.
yes. And we have so much baobab in West Africa, but we don't do any sweets like that because mabuyu is very popular, right?
Yes.
And packaged.
Yeah, packaged. Yeah.
So I want to try to do something like that in Ghana.
All right.
And in Mali as well, we do a lot of baobab juice, baobab ice cream.
Okay. Amazing.
So you have so much to learn.
But you love the mabuyu.
I loved it. I had
Alright.
the chili one and then I had the sweet one as well.
All right. That's dope. There's this one I remembered, Farm to Table.
Yes.
What's that about?
Farm to table. I mean, everything we do is kind of farm to table.
Mm-hmm.
Farm to table, that project was
Yes.
about urban farming and conversations about food, bringing stakeholders together, showing the value of eating farm to table.
Okay.
But another interesting project that I touched upon is the campaign Buy Ghana, Build Ghana.
Okay.
So that is
That's
about
amazing. Sounds dope.
it's about patronizing Ghanaian food brands and producers. So we're actually building a directory of all made in Ghana food brands and producers that you can purchase food from. Because when I talk to people and I ask them, "Oh, why are you taking this imported?" If I ask like a chef or a restaurant owner, like, "Why are you getting this imported food?" They say, "Oh, but I don't know how to find it locally."
Okay. Yeah.
But that's not a good enough excuse. So we built this directory so that whenever someone says, "I don't know where to find
you
it,"
know where to find it. Yeah.
here's the list.
They-
You can search what you're looking for
And
and
you
you
find
find it. And if you can't find it, maybe you should think about substituting to a local version of whatever
By
it
the
is
way,
that you need.
that's a brilliant idea. We don't have to bring what you guys have, but we can get our own version of it.
Like chickpeas, for example. We
Yes.
get a lot of chickpeas from elsewhere. I learned that you are growing chickpeas in Kenya.
Yeah.
I never knew. So for the first, we should take our chickpeas from Kenya rather than the Middle East because it's closer and it's Africa. But for the second, we have Bambara beans
Okay.
in West Africa, and they have like super similar.
That sounds dope. Bambara. What does that mean?
Bambara is a tribe in Mali, actually.
Okay.
But they are actually called Bambara groundnuts because they grow under the ground. And Bambara groundnuts, I just learned this, they are actually Africa's native peanuts. Because peanuts
okay.
are not native to Africa. It came like 400 years ago from South America.
Okay.
So our first peanut was the Bambara groundnut, which I think, I mean, I'm a bit nerdy, but I think that's super cool.
It is super cool. Yeah, it is, yeah.
And the Bambara bean, you can use it for like your sauces, your hummus, in your salads. I mean, it's a bean. It's super nutritious, and it's an amazing legume because it fixates nitrogen in the soil. So
Okay.
and it thrives on degraded soils. So actually, if you've done like monocropping and you've ruined the soils, like in Ghana, and you plant Bambara beans, they will restore the soil just by growing there.
Okay.
So it's like a future crop.
It is,
So,
by the way.
so people need to start eating it more.
And we're
and-
talking about securing the future of African
exactly.
food security and all.
It's part of that. Just
Okay.
as millets are, just as insects are as well. Insects are also going to be an imported source of food, not only food for humans, but also for feed for animals.
Okay.
So, and that's also something we can produce a lot in Africa if we get into it.
All right. Amazing. And this got me thinking about how do we also raise more awareness about these traditional foods, not just the ones that are known? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some that don't even people don't even know about them. How do we raise more awareness, especially in the young people,
Yeah.
in the youth, and get them involved in the program and all
Right.
that? How do we do that apart from just I don't know, posting on social media? There are some guys who can't access the internet
Yeah.
somewhere in Accra or in
Yeah.
Nairobi.
Yeah.
But how do we bring them on board, and we have this conversation about accessing all traditional foods?
Yeah, no, I mean, my answer was going to be social media, but it is true that not
Yes,
everyone
yeah,
have access to
connectivity
it.
is a bit scarce.
But I mean, we work with other organizations. We work with an organization called Food for All Africa. They give out hot meals. So now next week for the World Food Day, by the UN, we are giving out hot meals to communities, to 1,000 people.
Okay, that's
And
amazing.
we've come on board to incorporate fonio, which is a millet that we grow in West Africa that is very, very nutritious and climate resilient.
Okay,
So we work together with a fonio company to add that to the diet, and
Mhm.
that's one way of
Yes.
making them. I'm sure many of them has had fonio, but maybe don't have it like regularly. So that's one way. Otherwise, I mean, we do events like we do market pop-ups.
yeah,
We
like you
try,
mentioned.
yeah, we try to be at like food festivals, even music festivals, to maybe attract people that wouldn't, find us. We have to find them.
Okay,
Then,
actually, that's a good thing. Finding them,
yes,
because they might not have
yes.
access to you guys.
And then I personally love working with children, and I think it's really important to start talking about these topics very young with the kids.
By the way,
So sometimes I go to schools and I do a little cooking workshop and baobab fonio pancakes, or talk about some of the crops and ingredients we have. And I think it's really, really, really important to start early.
you're doing an amazing job, Amy,
Thank you.
and you're inspiring confidence in young people to join the food movement, and so that we can secure the future of food security in Africa. This is the Confident One Conshizzy podcast. We'll be back after this short break with Amy from Ghana Food Movement. This is the Confident One Conshizzy podcast. We're back with the amazing Amy. She's a food advocate and organizer in Accra, Ghana, and she's doing amazing things, and she's inspiring confidence. Amy, let's talk about Amy the brand. How are you laughing?
Sure. Sure. Even with my name, Amy, I have to
Yes.
tell you that I have a bit of a.
Your name is a story.
No, it's not a story, but it's just. My real name is Aimee in French, like
Okay.
loved one. But then when I speak English, and now because I live in Ghana, I just call myself Amy. But my mom and my people in Sweden, they call me Aimee. So I think I at some point need to rebrand myself to Aimee. But I just don't feel like it comes well in when
Amy
you
sounds
speak.
dope to me.
Which one?
Amy.
So the other version, can you try to say it?
The other version is Amy.
Aimee.
Amy.
Aimee.
Amy.
You see,
Amy.
that's the problem I'm having.
I think Amy is global, since if I'm Kenyan, or maybe I'm from South Africa, Ghana, or maybe Europe, I'll be able to say Amy
Yeah.
without having difficulty.
So you think I should stick to Amy?
I think you should stick to Amy.
You're the first person that ever says this, because people are, no, you should stick to your true self, the name your parents gave you. I'll think about it.
But it's just giving the brand an appeal and also an identity too.
Yes.
And maybe if it's easy even to say it, it's easy to grow the brand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To relate to.
Yeah, exactly. That part. So tell me about what you planning maybe to achieve with your brand, of course, apart from now, aside from the movement. Of
Yeah.
course, you want to achieve some personal things for yourself,
Yeah.
whether it's in food security or just you as a brand. And what do you want to embark on?
So I mean, it wasn't a long time ago that I started to become more conscious with my social media channels.
Like
and
we
what
said, social media is huge. It's
social
a
media
monster.
is huge. So about, I think it was at the beginning of this year, I started posting more intentional content about my work. I started cooking more at
That's
home.
amazing. And we have an episode about living intentionally. You should go listen.
Yeah.
hmm
So I mean, it's actually because of that I'm here today in Nairobi.
Okay.
Because I thought, like, yeah, in December last year, I was like, okay, for the new year, I want to be more intentional about what content I post. I want to post about the things that I care about. I want to post about food. I want to show people that it's possible to eat local food in Ghana, that you don't have to depend on imported products. So every time I'll cook a meal and everything is sourced from Ghana,
Okay.
I'll post it. And people will be like, what? Where is that from? Or how did you make this? And I didn't know that. And what is that? And so many questions from Ghanaians
Awareness.
and from people abroad, you know?
Okay.
So I started realizing that people were like liking the content. So I just kept going, posting those type of things, you know, posting more about Ghana food movement on my own channel as well. And then Global Landscape Forum had an opportunity to become a social media ambassador. So in February, I applied to become a social media ambassador, and I got in. So together with 40 other
Africans.
Actually from all over the world,
Oh, it's global, yeah.
we promote their different activities and events throughout the year. And then the Nairobi conference was coming up, and I was helping do some content in collaboration with Ghana Food Movement leading up to the conference. And then my contact person, we were talking, and I said, you know, I would love to come to Nairobi.
Yes.
And she was like, oh, we didn't plan for that. Like, I'm not sure, but I can check. So and then a couple of weeks later, she invited me to come to Nairobi.
Okay.
And now I'm here. So it's actually because of my social media. And she like GLF liked how I was posting things on social media, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
And I am actually here to report
And to
on
cover the
social
event.
exactly on
Okay.
social media. So it's been very, very important.
Are you going to
for
talk
me.
about our podcast?
Huh?
Are you going to talk about our podcast?
Of course. How could I not? How
All right.
could I not?
All right.
So that's I'm trying to be. I'm mostly on Instagram.
I see you're very active.
Yes,
on your
but I also
Instagram.
try to be on TikTok because it's like you can get a really big reach without having a lot of followers.
Yes.
But with TikTok, I'm struggling because sometimes I think something is so good and I spend so much time editing, and then you end up getting 100 views, and then you post something silly, stupid, and you get
You get a
5,000 views.
Yeah.
So I haven't cracked the TikTok code yet.
Okay.
But I'm guessing I just have to be consistent. I've heard that about
Consistency
TikTok.
is key in anything, by the way.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you're doing. I mean, that's amazing. What else do you want to achieve with your brand now, apart from now being more visible, talking about the things you're passionate about? What else do you want to achieve?
Inspire young people to, you know, speak up about the things that matters to them,
Okay.
and just focus on, rather than focusing on, you know, how you look and what bag you can afford.
How you look is also important.
Yeah,
For the
sure,
image.
but
I get what you mean.
so
Yeah.
much of social media is like superficial.
Yeah.
So it would be cool if more people talked about a bit more important things, but in a fun way. Like you can
Yes.
still use like a trending sound or a trending TikTok,
And
like
still put the message across. Exactly.
and I follow some like people that are my role models that are able to tell really important things, but in a really fun way.
Who's your role model? Can you name a few?
I mean, yes, there's a few. There's this account called Living the Ancestral Way.
Okay. In Ghana.
Yes, she's Ghanaian, and she works with farmers in northern Ghana. Abena is her name.
Okay.
And she has a project called Bila Center, and it's a community seed bank. And she, you know, advocates for farmers' rights and indigenous ingredients and, seed saving and seed trading among farmers.
Okay.
Which is really cool. Then there's another account I love that is called Eat with Afya. And
Afya means, Afya is a Swahili word for healthy.
Oh,
Yes.
but it's also like a Ghanaian name.
I mean, you see, we share even
Yeah,
names.
and she's Ghanaian but based in Canada, and she cooks like so many interesting and like delicious West African Ghanaian meals.
Okay.
And she talks about like the health benefits and the tradition and the history of stuff. So I love that account as well. Yeah, no, I mean, I think social media and Instagram, we keep coming back to it, but it's just such a good source for knowledge. Like,
Yeah, it is.
for
It
me,
is.
like in our generation, like I really connect with people there. I learn there, I connect, and I share my story and my knowledge there. So I'm really happy that that platform exists for us.
Yeah, and it's an exciting platform for everyone right now. Let me find out, apart from now being so like a global or continental ambassador about food, and what else should you think should be done in Africa to spread this idea of having us guys having our own, I don't know, just building our own thing and believing in it. Like you said, build Ghana by Ghana, build Kenya by Kenya. What do you think should be done more in these African countries to embrace our culture more, whether it's food culture, fashion, just our culture?
I think it has to start with connecting across.
Connecting.
Yeah, across the countries.
Yes.
Because we are disconnected actually.
A
We
lot,
have
by the
so
way.
much to learn from each other. And then, you know, for young people, like my dream is to set up like an exchange program where young people get to travel to different African countries.
And get to see what happens in Ghana,
Get to see
in
what
Nairobi.
happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of my dream projects. But then also I think it's when it comes to like connecting food cultures, it's also black food cultures in general, not only in Africa.
Yeah, black
Because
community
we
food.
recently traveled to Brazil with the
I see in Sao Paulo.
yes, two chefs and me, and it was so interesting to see like how much of the food culture has been influenced by African food culture because of the slave trade,
Yes. Okay.
and so many of the similar ingredients. But
So they took all that culture from Africa and they took it to Brazil.
exactly, because the slaves came with their food cultures, and they sometimes even had like seeds in their hairs, and you know the memory of how they used to cook things, and so many things are similar. Like the cachaça, which is like the alcohol that is super traditional for Brazil that they make the caipirinha with, it is like has the same method as the apateshi. That is
Okay.
like one of our main drinks that we have in Ghana, and I think you have something similar here in Kenya because it's made from sugarcane.
Oh.
You have like a sugarcane spirit here.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know if it's in Swahili, yeah? Mkwaju or something. I don't know if that's the name.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just so many like so many similarities in what we eat. Then there's this in West Africa. We have a street snack called kose,
Kose.
or akra or akaraje.
Okay.
Or actually, yeah, in West Africa it's more kose or akra, but in Brazil they have a street snack called akaraje,
All right.
and it's
Sounds
made
good.
from beans. It's like pounded beans that is fried. And in Brazil, they make it like a version that is bigger. They fill it with palm oil sauce
Okay.
and shrimp.
Sounds yummy.
And that was like the best thing I had when I was in Brazil.
I should try that, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
and we can make those things here as
In
well.
Africa, yeah.
But we just don't
We're not
because we have
connecting.
yeah.
We're not connecting. So the bottom line should be trying to connect and now spark these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. That sounds great. Let me dive into day 2 of the conference. We're talking about the climate crisis. The planet Earth is hurting, you know. What do you feel should be our roadmap to solving this crisis about climate in Africa?
Okay, so I think again it's to like really harness our local solutions,
Yes.
giving the bright minds the opportunity and the resources.
Like Amy.
Yeah, but also even when it comes to climate, of course there are crops that are so important and so on, but there's also other like more technical
Yes.
solutions, and I think there's so many incredible entrepreneurs that have like real company and business ideas that are going to, you know, slow down climate change and its effect on Africa.
Yes.
Whether it is an organic fertilizer or a solar powered irrigation system or anything.
Yes.
Like packaging that isn't plastic. Like there's so many cool initiatives. So we need to celebrate all those ideas and innovation and make sure that they have the investment and the resources needed.
Okay. And actually, Salina, our first guest, talked about that. Like how we're not even responsible for the pollution
Exactly.
and the climate crisis. But now we are told to find solutions. But now, how do we protect ourselves from all this pollution and all this mess?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope they're listening and watching, and we'll be able to come up with tangible solutions. What do you expect to come out of this conference in the 2 days that you're going to be here? What's your expectation?
I mean, I'm really interested in most of the topics of the sessions,
Okay.
but also, of course, to connect with
All
other
right.
stakeholders. I think that's really, really important. And people are, even from just a few first hours, like, people are very open-minded. Like, they will just read on your, like,
But yeah, so
conference.
yeah, they're focusing on the badge.
Yeah, they will just read on your badge and be like, hey, Amy, like, I want to talk to you. Like, people are not shy at all.
It's a good thing.
It's a
That's
good
being
thing.
confident.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I think that's important. Like, the more confident you are in these spaces, the more you get out of it.
By
And
the way.
you know, like, there are some really rich organizations. Like, there are some organizations and people here with a lot of resources, and we need to channel
They're
those
just
resources.
they're just waiting for places to
Exactly.
go and fund
And
you
they
know.
should come and fund us.
By the way, they should. Are you?
If you're
I hope they're-
listening,
yeah, they're listening and watching.
if they are listening,
They should come and fund us,
we
yeah.
need money for our kitchen that we're building.
Yeah, by the
And
way, in Ghana.
yes.
And I should be invited. I will come for that
Yeah.
launch.
For the launch. Yes,
Yeah.
that's amazing. No,
Amazing.
so you never know who you end up speaking to at a conference like this. So
By the way, it's a global conference. I agree. Okay, amazing. Speaking about being global, you are a global citizen. You've been to so many cities. So let's talk about the cities you've been to. I'm gonna mention one, and you're gonna talk about it, the experience. Let's start with Nairobi. I know you've been here a couple of days. What's the experience? What do you make of Nairobi?
Nairobi is buzzing,
It's buzzing, vibrant.
vibrant.
Okay.
It's a big city. Like, if I compare it to Accra, like, there's so much going on here. Like, when it comes to like shops,
Yes.
restaurants, like cafes. There's just clubs, nightclubs. I've been out.
Yeah, the nightlife is huge.
I went to Alchemist.
Okay.
It was good. Yeah, no, so I love Nairobi. I can't wait to explore more. I've tried some food, as we talked about before, but I could definitely see myself coming back and maybe
You're
spending
welcome.
some more time here.
You're welcome to Nairobi. Anytime, any day. Bamako,
Bamako.
Mali.
Bamako, Mali. That's where my grandma lives. That's where my father's side of the family is based.
Okay.
Bamako is beautiful. Bamako is full of culture, full of food. It
Beautiful people, of course.
beautiful people. Always a wedding going on somewhere. A lot of
So weddings
street
are not
food.
scarce in Bamako.
They are, but
it's not like Nairobi.
we only do weddings on Sundays and Wednesdays, actually, in Mali. So during those days, you get a lot. But at the same time, Mali has been complicated since 2012.
Yeah, because of the the whole
So it's not the same anymore.
political I don't know instability.
Yeah, and it's almost like the country has been standing still since
Wow.
2012. Not much has developed.
Happened. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a bit
It's
sad.
a bit sad, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another topic that we need to also shed light on and talk about. I mean, conflicts in Africa. I feel like as the youth, because we're the future generation of leaders, we should, this conflict, they bring us down. Look at what happened in Somali, Sudan, Central Africa Republic. It's crazy. You know, we make progress, conflict takes us like
True.
100 steps back.
And also, there's an important tie between food and conflict.
Yeah, food is like a weapon.
Exactly, food is a weapon, and especially in Mali, like with all these armed forces in the northern parts of Mali, like because people don't have the means to feed themselves, to have a salary, they will accept any offer from an armed group because at least the armed group will feed them, give them a little salary. So it comes down to trying to meet your basic needs, not your ideology.
By the way,
or,
you just
know?
just want to eat. Yeah, because like you said, food is a weapon, and sometimes you just need to eat, and that gets you into a war or participating in a very ugly activity like war and violence. So it's crazy. But I hope we can be able to get out of it and see a more stable Africa.
Yeah,
I'm hoping we can do that. The next city is Stockholm, of course.
Stockholm.
And we have so many memories.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you been to the Ice Hotel?
No, the real ice hotel is in northern Sweden. There's an ice bar in Stockholm, but Stockholm is a small city. It's nice. It's home. It's definitely one of my homes.
Okay.
Even if Accra is also becoming one of my homes.
You acquired home.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I like it. I like because you can walk a lot. I love walking in those type of cities. Maybe in Nairobi it's a bit harder to walk from point A to point B because the city is so big as well.
Okay. But do you feel, I don't know, because I was thinking about the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, all those countries around there. Do you feel like they're kind of isolated from the rest of the world? They're not so much involved with what's happening.
Well,
Do you feel that?
we try to. We
Mm-hmm.
try our best.
Yes.
Or right now, our government is conservative, and I don't like align with our current government. But
Okay.
our socialist governments, they usually try to do their best to, support like global efforts in line with like climate action, in
Okay.
line with women empowerment, conflict resolution, and those types of topics. So I would say, like, on the international agenda, we try to support, we try to know,
Okay.
like, but at the same time, we are a bit further away, and maybe we live in a bubble because our societies are different.
Mm-hmm.
They're built up on other grounds. Like, we have a very strong support system in our societies,
Okay.
and it's much more equal. We
All right.
don't have the same, like, super rich and super poor as in many other countries. But something I really find interesting with Kenya is the strong middle class, and I think it must be one of the strongest middle classes in
I
Africa.
agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't know how it's gonna look in the near future.
Yeah, I've heard they're taxing you guys
Yeah,
a lot.
heavily. Do you wanna move here
I mean,
and help us to pay taxes?
but in Ghana as well,
It's crazy.
Ghana used to do so well, like economically. It was like the role model of West African economies and all of that. And now the CD, like the currency, is going up and down. The prices are skyrocketing, and all our politicians are just blaming the war in Ukraine and COVID instead of, like, owning up to taking care of the economy.
By the way, that's another thorny issue.
Yes.
All right, Amy. There's something a segment called Words of Confidence. So just want you to talk to the ladies, young men, girls watching you, listening to you, and just inspire confidence in them. What do you have to tell them?
It's
They're
gonna be
watching it
something.
globally.
It's gonna be something cheesy, I guess.
Amazing.
No, but take all opportunities that come your way.
Okay.
Connect with
Seize the opportunity.
Seize opportunities. When you have something in mind for yourself, something that you want to do, like, there's so many ways to get there, and you might not know which of the ways will get you towards your goal. Seize every opportunity, make all connections you can. In the morning session, they were talking about the power of network and community,
Yes.
and I think it's so important. Like,
And very powerful.
and that's how you get to travel. That's how you get your jobs. That's like how you actually move in life, is through networks and connections.
By the way.
And it can be tough, because it can feel like, oh, it's unfair because I don't know these people. But actually, if you know your thing, and if people see the value in you, like, it will be much
They will
easier
invest
to
in
connect.
you.
They will invest
And
in you.
I said in a previous episode, if someone has trust in you, they will invest in you.
Yeah.
But if they don't have that trust in you, they won't invest in you. So I think, like you say, connecting and building that trust.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, we want to know your social media platforms.
Of
Where we can
course.
find you.
Of
Apart
course.
from Accra, Ghana.
So I'm on Aimee WAV.
That's going to be on our screens, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
So AIME .WAV, and then Ghana Food Movement, of course. Ghana Food Movement.
Ghana Food Movement. Amy, follow her. She's amazing.
Yes.
She,
Reach out if you
yeah.
have questions. Like, my DMs are open. Tell me that you
I
heard
can
me
attest
on
to
the
that. Yeah, you're
Confidence.
very. You respond to your messages swiftly.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to all of my talk.
Thank you too for coming. Welcome to Nairobi once again. We're hoping to come to Ghana and
Yes.
create greatness like this.
Yes.
Inspire so much confidence there too.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that. And also another thing is, if, like you said, if you're able to spark a conversation in Nairobi and take it to Ghana, take it to South Africa, take it to Mali, we have the whole continent talking. And that's when we make change.
That's where we make change.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time. Keep breaking the glass ceiling and doing your thing. And enjoy Nairobi. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Aimee.
Woo!